Ever since I was a kid, I've liked being quiet and didn't like hanging out in crowded places. But living in a dorm, it's hard to have some personal space. Besides, everyone in the dorm loves playing games, except me. I bought a bottle of baijiu at the specialty store near the station. The ancients said that alcohol can ease sorrow, so I gotta see if it's true. It was sweltering outside. When I got to the dorm, Matthew, the eldest, and Lucas, the second eldest, had already started playing games. Our dorm is a mixed one with 4 guys. The eldest and the second eldest are from the physical education college. The third one is from the computer science college. And I'm the youngest, from the Academy of Fine Arts. When I came back, the eldest, Matthew, looked up at me, then asked in surprise, "You have a fever?" Lucas, the second oldest, quickly got to his feet and said, "Got a fever? How did that happen? Should I take you to the infirmary?" I looked at my face in the mirror and quickly waved my hand at them. "I'm not running a fever. It's just so hot outside that my face got this flushed." Lucas plopped back down after hearing this and said, "See, William, you're so delicate. If you were to take up sports, they'd snap your little arms and legs right off." I smiled sheepishly and said, "I'm not that delicate." After packing my luggage, I sat under the air conditioner to catch some breeze. James came back at some point I didn't notice. All of a sudden, a small blanket dropped from above and landed on my head. A cold voice rang out above my head. "It's so hot outside, and you're sitting right under the air conditioner. Are you trying to catch a cold?" I instinctively wrapped the blanket tightly around my head, stood up, and walked towards the bedside relying on my memory. I'd just taken 2 cautious steps when I bumped into a human wall. I heard James click his tongue, and quickly yanked the blanket off my head, looking at him obsequiously. James was different from the others in our dorm. When we first met, he was really cold, and he barely bothered to answer when we talked to him. I don't know why, but I'm always a bit scared of him. He's like a god in their college. A handsome top student, he's well known throughout the whole school. But in front of me, he's like a dean of students. When I do something wrong, I get scolded, and when it gets cold, he tells me to put on more clothes. He's as naggy as my dad. He scooped me up, carried me back to the bed, then ruffled my hair and said, "Next time you keep blowing the air conditioner like this, watch out or I'll give you a whack." I rubbed his shoulders ingratiatingly and said, "Don't worry, James, it won't happen again." I swore under his somewhat fierce gaze, and only then did James let me go. After he left the dormitory carrying the thermos, the eldest and the second eldest also joined in teasing me. William got dominated by our James again. Ha! My face flushed instantly, and I blurted out, "Matthew, Henry, could you guys teach me a few moves? Next time, I promise I won't let James get the better of me." After hearing this, they sat on the stools and burst out laughing. "William, you'd better give up. Our James is a black belt in Taekwondo. An ordinary person can't beat him." I hugged the blanket resentfully and flopped onto the bed. If you ask me why I'm afraid of James, it dates back to the military training in my freshman year. I've always been in poorer health than my peers since I was a kid. When my parents found out, they took extra good care of me. In the past, during the school military training, my parents always asked the teacher to excuse me from it due to my health issues. But come on, I'm a grown man. Military training is the best chance to fit into the group, and I didn't want to miss it. So, I managed to persuade my parents to let me participate in the university military training this time. But who would have thought that an accident happened on the first day? The drill instructor of our formation must have gone crazy or something. He made all of us move to the center of the playground and stand at attention. In southern cities, the temperature can soar up to 40 degrees Celsius in summer. At noon, just standing outside gives you a burning sensation, not to mention being exposed to the blazing sun. In less than 5 minutes, I felt dizzy, short of breath, and then collapsed to the ground. When I woke up again, I was already lying on the bed in the infirmary. James was sitting by the bedside, watching over me. I looked at James in confusion and asked, "What are you doing here?" "I just finished my meal and saw you being carried by your classmates, so I took you to the infirmary on my way. I got you excused from the afternoon military training. The doctor said you had a bit of heat stroke." This is the first time I've ever had heat stroke. I almost threw up my guts. After the 4 drip, I felt much better. After all, I'm a guy, and I can't give up halfway. So I sneaked back to the military training. The weather in the afternoon wasn't as hot as it was in the morning. I managed to keep up and practice goose stepping for the whole afternoon. When I got back to the dorm, I saw James sitting on my stool, and there was a bowl of porridge on my desk. Just as I was about to speak, I heard his creepy voice come over. "Where were you this afternoon?" I scratched my head in embarrassment and said, "I'm going to the military training." The second eldest butted in at the right time. "This afternoon, James got punished by the drill instructor to run 2,000 meters just because he wanted to bring you food at the infirmary. And when he got there, you weren't even around." Hearing this, I felt an overwhelming sense of guilt. I never expected James to think so much of me. I took a step closer to him, just as he slapped me hard on the shoulder. "It doesn't hurt, but it feels kind of tingly. Did the doctor say you had heat stroke? You need to rest quietly." One of us was standing and the other sitting, which looked exactly like the scene when I got caught by the dean for doing something wrong. James gave me a long lecture. It's not that I didn't want to resist. He was just too strong. Plus, he's a solid 6 feet 2 inches tall. With just a stretch of his big arm, he could wrap me up, and I'm only 5 feet 10 inches. A sense of awe reached its peak at this moment, and I felt like crying but had no tears. I ate and took my medicine in front of James, and then he finally left me alone. And my other 2 roommates were playing games like crazy with their headphones on, not giving a damn about whether I lived or died. Thinking of this, my face still felt a bit hot. James was back in no time, carrying a hot water kettle. He stepped onto the balcony, soaked a towel in hot water, and then gently wiped me down with careful precision. The other 2 guys in the dorm were used to this scene, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. It seemed a bit too intimate. After James finished wiping my body, he covered me with a blanket and said, "Do you feel cooler now? Don't sit under the air conditioner and blow cold air next time." I hugged the blanket and nodded repeatedly. I never thought my body could be this weak. I came down with a fever that very night. In a daze, I felt someone climb onto my bed and hold me in their arms. A cold towel was placed on my forehead. When I was almost asleep, James gently shook me awake and said, "Enan, open your mouth and take your medicine." I obediently followed his instructions, opened my mouth, and took the medicine. My head was dizzy and aching. James felt cool. I found a comfortable position in his arms and dozed off again. When I woke up the next day, I was already fine. There was only me in the bed, and the rest of my roommates had gone out for classes. Just as I sat up, James came into the room carrying the food. "Awake!" He glanced at me indifferently. Even though he was kind enough to bring me food, I still had this feeling that he was mad. I got out of bed, grabbed James' arm, and gave it a little shake. "James, don't be mad. I won't do it again." James stared at me fiercely and said, "If there's a next time, I'll toss you out the door and let you go to the hospital on your own." Seeing me like this, James naturally had no reason to get angry. He pulled me back to the bed and made me sit. "Be good. Open your mouth." I looked a bit awkward and took a sip of the congee from his hand. Maybe I should do it myself? I tentatively reached out, trying to take the spoon, but James easily dodged it. He used the hand that wasn't holding the bowl to grab my fidgeting hand, with an uncompromising attitude. I had no choice but to pull my hand back and let James feed me dinner. After dinner, he then volunteered to carry me to bed and hold me as I slept. I had just woken up and wasn't sleepy at all, so I fidgeted around in his arms. He wrapped his arms around my waist and pulled me tightly into his embrace. "Stop fidgeting. You're not fully recovered yet. Close your eyes and go to sleep." There was something magical about his embrace. I was just playing around, but then I actually dozed off. When I woke up again, it was already night. I feel like I'm in great shape. I'm so hungry I could eat a whole cow, and I've got so much energy I could even fight one. The 3 guys in the dorm were each sitting in their gaming chairs, playing an online game together. I sauntered over behind them, and their computer screens all showed the same scene. I stared at it for ages but couldn't make sense of it, so I thought I'd rummage through the cabinet to find something to eat. James usually tidies up my cabinet for me. I was just about to ask him where he'd put the bread when I saw him take off his headphones and stride over towards me. "Hungry?" I nodded and said, "Where did you put the bread?" "How can you eat bread just after getting better?" he said, then started to put on his clothes. "Come on, I'll take you out to eat." My eyes lit up and I immediately jumped up to rummage through the wardrobe for clothes to put on. I gently wrapped my arm around James and racked my brain to come up with some words to praise him. After all, I don't know many people in this school. I live in a mixed dorm, and I don't interact much with people from my own college on a regular basis. Finding someone who's willing to go to a restaurant with me at night is like I've saved the world. Well, that's just James for you. No sooner do you praise him than we get to the food street and he starts saying no to this and no to that. I immediately took back the words of praise I'd just given him. Finally, he led me to a place that served chicken soup rice noodles. Seeing that I was glum, he sat beside me and explained, "It's not that I don't let you eat, it's just that the other dishes are too greasy and salty. You're not fully recovered yet, so you can't eat whatever you want." I turned sideways to James with great pride and didn't say a word to him. I didn't want to talk to James when we got back to the dorm in the evening, but he didn't care. He just grabbed a towel and started wiping my body, then fetched a bucket of water for me to soak my feet. He wrapped a small blanket around me, then squatted in front of me and started to wipe my feet. Seeing the two of us like this, the eldest one frowned and went to find the second one. "Chang, I also want you to wash my feet." Without a word, the second eldest guy went up and kicked the eldest one. "Do you have stinky feet or something? And you're telling me to wash mine? Stay away from me, you stinky nerd." Hearing what the two of them said, I felt a bit embarrassed and tried to pull my foot out of James' hand. But James held my ankle even more tightly, so hard that it started to hurt a bit. I whispered, "Is this really a good idea? Won't your future girlfriend get jealous?" James's hand, which was wiping my feet, paused, and then he let out a soft chuckle. "Ain't this about learning from you in advance? First time's a charm, second time's a breeze. Your girl will come around in no time." I don't know why, but when I heard James say that, I kind of felt a bit off. After James tucked me into bed, I turned my back to him and fell asleep. Half asleep, I felt someone hug me from behind again. I mumbled subconsciously, "James?" James ruffled my hair and said, "It's me. Go back to sleep. I'm worried you might have a fever again tonight." After hearing his answer, I comfortably fell asleep in his arms. Well, that's why they say I'm a young and strong college student. In less than 3 days, I was completely over my illness. The weather was sweltering. I was just about to put on my new shorts when James stopped me at the door. He was holding one of my pairs of long pants, his eyes cold. "Put this one on." "No way." I stared back at him, jutting out my chin. "I want the freedom to dress as I like. It's so hot. There's no way I'm wearing long pants," he said firmly, with a tone that brooked no argument. "Take off those shorts and wash them yourself." Right away, I obediently put on a pair of long pants. Ever since I became roommates with James, every time he does the laundry, he also washes my clothes as a matter of course. Over time, I got into the habit of throwing my dirty clothes into his hamper. When James sees it, he'll wash mine too as he goes. As a top student in the computer science college, James has a bunch of things to do every day besides attending classes. That day, while he was having an evening class, there wasn't a soul in the dormitory. I took out the white liquor I'd been secretly keeping under the bed, planning to have a sip. I never expected Baijiu to be so strong. I just took a tiny sip, and it was so fiery that I could barely breathe. I coughed for ages. I gritted my teeth and downed a glass. The spiciness made my head spin, and I was completely disoriented. I gulped down a bottle of water, which helped a bit, but there was still a burning sensation in my stomach. I'm scared to take medicine. I'm worried it might react with the Baijiu. My head was all woozy, and my vision became blurry. I have no idea when I fell asleep. All I remember is that when I woke up in the middle of the night, the lights in the dorm were already off. The alternating snores of the eldest and the second eldest brought me back to my senses a bit. I forced myself to get up and go to the bathroom to pee. When I was on my way back, I felt hot all over and wanted to sleep against something cool. I subconsciously ran to James' bed. As soon as I climbed up, I was yanked into the covers by a strong force. "You little rascal, you're so disobedient." James' voice rang out beside my ear. Before I could even react, sleepiness came over me again. A wet sensation came from my earlobe. I didn't dare to open my eyes and just let James have his way with me. "Damn it, James." I resentfully rubbed the drool on my face onto his clothes. It was not until James' soft chuckle came from above my head that I finally stopped. Maybe it was because I went to bed too early the day before, so I woke up early the next day. I quietly climbed down from James' bed and returned to my own. It's terrifying. James bit me so hard yesterday that it left me traumatized. So today I decided to avoid him. I'm a real man. I can't just let him take advantage of me like that. I want him to apologize to me and maybe even get a bite back at him. During the day, when I was going to class, I deliberately didn't walk with James. At noon, he was waiting for me to finish school at the door of my classroom. I pretended not to see him and turned my head to walk away. That night, I deliberately stayed in the dormitory painting, but he acted as if he didn't see me. He just picked up his basketball and headed outside. Something seems different between us two, but it's clearly just me throwing a tantrum on my own. He's the one who was wrong, so why can't he come to me? He used to drag me along every time he played basketball. I had to hand him water and cheer him on. Hearing the sound of the door closing, I just couldn't hold it in any longer. I threw the paintbrush onto the floor with a vengeance. I'm done painting. I climbed onto James' bed and let out all my pent-up frustration there. I kicked the pillows, quilt, and sheets into a complete mess until I was out of breath and finally got off the bed. Right after causing a ruckus, James pushed open the dorm door with a big grin on his face. The basketball was held firmly in James' arms, while my foot was still stepping on the railing of his bed. "You little rascal." James tossed the basketball to the ground and quickly walked towards me. I felt guilty and moved my feet off the railing, ready to run outside. Unfortunately, I wasn't as fast as him, and my legs weren't as long. He grabbed my arm and pinned me against the wall. His warm breath sprayed on my face. One of his hands pressed against my waist, while the other tightly grasped my chin. "Little rascal, what's going on? Why are you avoiding me?" James is much taller than me. With him doing this, I can't even dodge at all. "I haven't settled the score with you about your drinking yesterday. Remember climbing into someone else's bed?" I didn't dare to move and mumbled in a low voice, "What's wrong with having a drink? I'm a legal adult." Right after I said that, I got a slap on the butt. Ouch! It hurt so much that tears welled up in my eyes instantly. With tears streaming down my face, I accused him, "You're not just anyone. Why can't you climb? You bit me, and you didn't even apologize. I'm gonna bite you back." James was taken aback, then looked at me meaningfully and said, "Did you really say that?" My tone might be weak, but I wasn't about to lose the argument. "I'll bite back then." James reached out and grabbed the gaming chair nearby, then plopped down on it. He pulled me to stand in front of him and said, "Do you know what it means when two men bite each other?" "How the hell should I know what it means? My parents have kept a tight rein on me since I was a kid. They were worried I'd get sick, so they never let me hang out with friends. I've been so sheltered growing up. My parents were always on my case, worried I'd get sick, so they never let me hang out with friends. It wasn't until college that I got to know these great guys in my dorm. I wiped away my tears and said, real bros gotta have each other's backs. If you bite me, I'll bite you back." James laughed unabashedly. I was so pissed off that I lunged at him, trying to bite him. Before they could let go, Henry and Matthew pushed the door open and came in. I instinctively tried to hide, but as soon as I tucked my head away, I felt something was off. This feels so much like an affair, but we clearly have a proper brotherly bond. I poked my head out from James' embrace and greeted the eldest and the second eldest. "Why the hell are you two squeezing together like that?" Henry asked, eyeing us both with a mix of confusion and suspicion. The second one shoved the eldest hard and said, "What do you know? You dumb straight guy." The boss wasn't happy after hearing that. "Hey, what are you pushing me for? Are you not straight?" "Hell, of course I'm straight." Seeing that the two of them were about to start arguing, I quickly stepped forward to intervene. James also got up to break up the fight. "I just think James is smart and I want to absorb the energy from him." I lied without batting an eye. I had no idea what they were talking about. I blurted out instinctively, "I'm straight too." The eldest didn't seem to react much, but the second one gave me a strange look. James didn't say a word. He carried me back to the bed, then went outside to get some water for me to wash my feet. After the lights in the dormitory were all turned off, I tossed and turned in bed, unable to fall asleep. So I opened the Tieba forum and posted a thread. "Is it normal for straight guys to kiss each other in the dormitory with their roommates?" Soon someone replied in the comment section, "What's not normal? This is how we guys are with each other. Does the OP really think he's straight? I clicked on the comment and replied, because I was drunk, felt hot, and wanted to cool off on his bed. Then he nibbled on me for 10 minutes. I want to nibble back today. What's wrong with that? After posting this reply, a whole bunch of people in the comment section started coming after me, cursing me out. Stay the hell away from pretending to be straight. Gross. I was just about to reply to the people in the post when a figure got down from the bed. Then, a voice like that of a dean of students came from behind me. William, what time is it and you're still not asleep? Do you want me to confiscate your phone? I stuffed my phone under the bed and started pretending to be asleep. After a while, when I felt James had left, I was about to grab my phone and play with it under the covers. James squeezed onto my bed when I least expected it. You little rascal, if I don't keep an eye on you, you'll stay up all night. You'll be the one feeling sick and miserable when you get ill. Being held by James, I didn't dare to play with my phone, so I just found a comfortable position in his arms and fell asleep. The next day when I woke up and checked my phone, the messages on the post bar had exploded. Quite a few people were cursing at me, while quite a few others were praising me, and they were saying all sorts of really strange things. That's when I really started to question my sexual orientation. Could James actually have feelings for me? I mean, I've been thinking about this all day long. I didn't even eat properly. You know what they say, when it rains, it pours. That very night, while I was having dinner, I started to feel something was off. Feels like there's some meat stuck between my teeth. I gave it a lick with my tongue, and sure enough, I felt something hard. But no matter how much I licked, I just couldn't get that thing down. I was so anxious that I used a mirror to look at the teeth inside. James came back just in time to see me using a mirror to check my teeth. He put down his backpack, then pinched my chin, forcing me to look up. What's wrong? Did some food get stuck in your throat? I shook my head and mumbled, no, there seems to be something in my teeth. James looked around, then shone a flashlight into my mouth. It's nothing, just got a wisdom tooth. Speaking of wisdom teeth, it immediately reminds me of the fear of being dominated by the dentist. Well, now I don't even feel like eating. I pulled the covers over my head and pretended to be asleep. But unexpectedly, in the middle of the night, this wisdom tooth actually started to ache. The pain on that side of my face was unbearable. My teeth felt sore, and so did my ears. I was lying in bed, covering my face and tossing and turning. But this tooth just wouldn't behave. It ached the whole night long. The next morning, I got out of bed with 2 dark circles under my eyes. James was naturally the first to notice something was off with me. What's wrong? Didn't you sleep well last night? Hearing him caring about me, I actually felt a bit aggrieved. Seeing me crying, the 3 guys in the dorm all rushed over to me. What's going on? William, who bullied you? Tell James and I'll get revenge for you. The second one reached out to wipe the tears off my face, but James slapped his hand away. My right cheek was starting to swell, and I was slurring my words. Toothache. James immediately started getting dressed and wanted to take me to the hospital. He took my phone to ask for leave from my counselor and put a mask on me. After waiting for the teacher to reply to the message, he took me to the hospital. My head was spinning all the way, and the thought of going to the dentist made my palms break out in cold sweat. James gave me a couple of gentle squeezes. Relax. It's okay. I'm here. At the hospital, the doctor examined me. For wisdom teeth that have just grown in, it's best not to lick them with your teeth. I'll prescribe you some anti-inflammatory and painkillers. Come back to me to have your wisdom teeth removed when the pain subsides. The wisdom teeth are growing in nicely. It should be an easy extraction. Don't worry, the doctor said. James picked up the medicine for me, then he pulled me back to school. You can't eat anything too greasy or spicy in the next few days. Be a good boy, or it'll be really painful when you get your wisdom teeth pulled. I nodded obediently. I didn't want to endure the excruciating pain of having my tooth pulled out. James took me to the cafeteria for lunch, and all the way, I felt like someone was watching us. Back in the dorm, the eldest and the second eldest surrounded the 2 of us, anxiously showing us the computer screen. You 2 are on the campus forum. Look. Someone secretly took pictures of you 2 and posted them on the campus confession wall. James and I each opened the forum, shocked. The computer genius in our school has finally won the heart of Xiaobao from the art department. Oh my god. Oh my god. Xiaobao's eyes are red. He must have been bullied badly. James was actually still holding Xiaobao's hand. Can you make those two kiss in front of me? I want to see. Judging by the way he looks, I bet he's had his fair share of hookups. This comment somehow got bumped up, as if prearranged. Of course, the eldest and the second eldest saw this comment too. The second child snatched my phone away and gently patted me on the shoulder. William, we've known each other for so long. We all know what kind of person you are. James may keep a tight rein on you, but we all know very well if you've been fooling around behind his back. Don't be afraid, bro. We'll prove your innocence. I nodded, then looked up at James. I saw that he was frowning, and his expression was unreadable. James and I are being regarded as a couple in a rather unofficial way. Strangely enough, I wasn't the least bit annoyed. Instead, I felt a tinge of excitement when I saw people shipping the two of us. If he weren't straight, he'd probably hate me now. It's me. Secretly saved the photo of the hand-holding taken by that person and changed it into the wallpaper like a thief. I've fallen for James without even realizing it. For the whole afternoon, James just sat in front of the computer, and I didn't know what he was doing, so I didn't have the nerve to disturb him. Then just lay in bed and drew pictures on the iPad. In the evening, both the eldest and the second eldest had classes, and only James and I were left in the dormitory. I had been thinking about what to say for a long time. Just as I was about to ask him what he thought about this matter, I saw him suddenly stand up, pick up his coat and walk out. Before I could even open my mouth, he had already left. Alright, maybe he's really pissed about this, so that's why he doesn't want to talk to me. That's why he left without saying a word. He wasn't like this before. The more I thought about it, the worse I felt, and my teeth even started to throb painfully. One painkiller simply didn't work. I took another one, but still couldn't suppress the sour feeling in my heart. Within half an hour, James was back. There was an injury on his face and his fist was still stained with blood. As soon as he entered the house, he rushed into the bathroom. I was so scared that I quickly followed him in. Even if you don't like me, there's no need to be so angry that you hurt yourself, right? I stormed up to James, fuming. His hand that was rinsing under the tap froze, and it took him a while to turn and look at me. I felt a bit guilty under his gaze. I do like you. If you don't like that post, you can just ask someone to delete it. And if you don't like me, you could have just told me straight up. Fine, I won't bother you from now on. James flicked the water off his hands onto the floor and then pulled me into his embrace. You little rascal, is that how you see me? Who's been washing your feet, doing your laundry, buying your meals, and getting your medicine every day? What do you think of me? Do you think I can just sleep with someone casually? No wonder they say you're stupid. You're such a blockhead. Everyone in the dorm has noticed, but you haven't. I froze. What does this mean? James doesn't seem to dislike me. In fact, he might even like me. I looked up at James with bright eyes. He leaned down and kissed me. James scooped me up in one swift move, then carried me straight into the house. You little rascal, you're too short. Too much kissing can give you neck problems. This is much more comfortable. He gave me a mischievous little shake, and I wrapped my arms tightly around his neck. He pulled me into his arms. You little rascal, who do you think I went out late at night for? James said as he turned the phone screen towards me. This is the person who spread rumors about you in the post today. I checked his IP address, and it turned out to be someone from your art academy. Do you know this guy? James dug out the photo of that guy. The moment I saw this, I instantly understood what was going on. I know this guy. He transferred to our college. He just transferred to our class. During class that day, he didn't bring his paintbrush, so I lent him mine. He not only refused, but called me girly. I'm just pale and a bit short, nothing more. I rambled on to James, and ever since that day, I felt like he has a huge amount of malice towards me. Then I even avoided sitting near him in class because I didn't want to have any conflicts with him. As James listened, the hand at his side involuntarily clenched into a fist. He kissed me again and said, "Why didn't you tell me when you were bullied outside?" I nestled deeper into James' embrace. "You're a bit fierce. I'm a bit scared of you," I said. After hearing that, he blocked my lips again and kissed me even harder than before. My lips hurt like hell. I wanted to pull away, but there was no escape. Just when I thought I was going to suffocate to death, James finally let me go. Pouted, "You're just so rough. You little brat, you heartless squirt." The eldest and the second eldest rushed back to the dormitory in a hurry. When they came back, Duan Qinghe was squatting in front of me, wiping my feet. Only after they saw that James was okay did they finally heave a sigh of relief. Henry sat on his bed and said, "James, you're not being fair, are you? Why didn't you call me and the boss when you had a fight? I've got all this brute strength but nowhere to use it." "What fight?" "Listen to me ask this." And the second brother really got into the topic. "Anne, you haven't checked the forum yet, have you? Your James has made it onto the trending list again." I quickly clicked on my phone to check the campus forum. The first thing that came into view was a photo of James beating someone up. It was the man who spread rumors about me, Benjamin, that I was hitting. There were several people following behind Benjamin, hesitating and not daring to step forward. James locked his hands around Benjamin's throat and pounded him with one punch after another. I was so touched that I wanted to cry. In my whole life, James is the first person who has been so nice to me. Not only is he good to me, but he also fights for me outside. I took James's hand and led him to sit on my bed. I gently blew on his hand, filled with concern. "I made you wash my feet even though your hands were injured. I'm such a jerk." James wiped away the tears on my face amusingly. "Washing your wife's feet, what a glorious thing. A man's pride." I was amused by James and said, "Then I'll wash it for you tomorrow too. I want to be the pride of a man too." James ruffled my hair and said, "You don't have to. As long as you stand in front of me happily, that's my pride and joy. Wherever you are, that's where my glory lies." This thing with James has really blown up. Even the college leadership had a talk with James. It was Benjamin who spread rumors about me first. James only fought back to defend me. I sat beside James, glaring at Benjamin viciously. Finally, it was the dean who stepped in to make us reach a reconciliation. "I'm willing to cover the cost of Benjamin's trip to the hospital, but he also has to publicly apologize to me, she and on the campus forum." After sorting these things out, I was dragged by James to the hospital to have my tooth pulled. "This matter isn't resolved yet. He caused me mental damage. I don't want to have my tooth pulled out." I shrieked and ran outside, only to be dragged back by James by my ankle. Early the next morning, James woke me up. "You little rascal, get up to have breakfast. We've made an appointment with the dentist today." James brought over the breakfast from the hotel. "Eat something, or you'll be dizzy when it's time to get your tooth pulled. Since there's no way to avoid it, then one can only face it." I faced my fate bravely. It wasn't until I lay on the dentist chair that I felt scared. I clung tightly to James' hand, not daring to let go at all. James gently covered my eyes and said, "Be a good girl. It'll be over in a flash." It was really a matter of moments. Before I could even react, my tooth was yanked out. When I came out of the hospital covering my mouth, I still hadn't emerged from that tense atmosphere. Instead of taking me back to school, James had the taxi drive to a residential area. Noticing that I was spacing out, he gently tapped on my head. "Stop looking. This will be our future home. Living on campus is always a bit inconvenient, and staying in a hotel is a waste of money. I thought it over and rented this place." That afternoon, James moved all of our stuff in. The doctor said no strenuous exercise. "You can't do this." James held my head, preventing me from lowering it. "It's okay, honey. Just keep your head up so the blood doesn't rush back. I really can't take it anymore, James." Took ages before James finally let me go. Before passing out, I heard James whispering in my ear, "You're so out of shape. Starting tomorrow, I'm taking you for a run." I was so scared that I immediately passed out, wishing I could never wake up again. The next morning when I got up, I posted a thread on Tieba. Question: how do you get your boyfriend to chill out a bit? Quite a few people replied to congratulate me. "OP, I knew it. You're a fake straight guy. Congrats to the OP and their roommate's boyfriend on a lifetime of happiness together."